There's this moment right before the door swings open where time itself seems to stand still.
Ooh, that's the wrong thing to do, ho. I need someone different, you know it. Oh, you know it. Oh. All right.
There's a slight hum of something mechanical, carrying you to unforeseen lands. In that space lie two versions of yourself. One that clings onto the past, held back by fear and comfort. The other reaches towards something more, a life worth pursuing, a future worth stepping into. I like to call this space the waiting room. A room where people wait for a green light, wait to feel ready, wait for things to line up perfectly, or wait for someone else to make the choice for them. And it's also the place where countless stories begin. Many great stories in some way include some sort of waiting room concept. It's a moment in a story where a character must choose whether or not they want to change or take that next step into their journey. Miles Morales, Leap of Faith. Arthur Morgan, deciding what kind of man he wants to be. Will from Good Will Hunting, turning down opportunities because of the fear of leaving behind the life he's always known. Everyone has their own reasons for staying, but no matter the story, every road eventually leads to the same question. When is it the right time to act? It's a question people have been asking for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, there's this concept known as kairos, a concept that translates to the exact or critical time. The Greeks believed there were two kinds of times, or gods you could say. The first was Chronos, the ticking clock, the passing of days, the endless accumulation of years. And then there's Kairos, the moment that mattered, the opening, the opportunity, the brief crack in time where change becomes possible. It's a moment that cannot be scheduled, be predicted, or waited on forever. It's a singular instant when everything aligns, and when that exact moment happens, you must ask yourself, are you ready?
So a lot of people in general are afraid of failure. How did you become one of those people who doesn't seem to be afraid of failing?
It doesn't exist. It's not existent. What the hell does that mean? Seriously, what does failure mean? It's not, it doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. What does it mean?
You're pulling a Jedi mind trick on me right now. I was like, does it exist?
No, I'm serious. I'm trying to think, how can I explain it? So
I became obsessed.
Yeah, failure is in the mind, and that's the whole idea. You can only fail if you decide that you failed, right? And failure is just giving up, right? You don't really fail until you give up. I feel like we've all been told that. You know what I'm saying? It's not about how you fail. It's about how you get back up. Wait, isn't that the saying? Failure is not failure. Failure is God deciding that this is a moment I need to learn something. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I feel like I have a problem in life, anytime something goes wrong, or like I feel myself genuinely being sad or like feeling negative, you have to remind yourself that something greater is coming. You know what I'm saying? I know this sounds sappy, and I know it's shit that everybody's heard before, but if you can't use this information, then you're mentally blocking yourself, if that makes sense. You've already told yourself that you're a failure, and your self-esteem and your belief is too low for you to actually use the simple ass information that we've all heard our whole lives, bro.
See, I don't need friends that aren't involved in this game. There comes a fucking day where push comes to shove. Where being mediocre, being like average and shit just fucking burns. It sucks so much.
And my personal question to you is, why not you?
If I see the opportunity, I'm gonna go for it. You know what I'm saying? We're all gonna die one day.
That's true.
Live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. Go for it.
No one thinks you're crazy. You're not yet operating to the outer limits of your potential. You're not there yet. Because somebody in your life should say, man, you really care about this in like a crazy way.
I was about to say, is that the end of the video? The fuck?
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
There are many reasons why someone chooses to wait or delay doing something they know must eventually be done. A lot of stories we can relate to our own lives, from people we know. A friend staying in a job for too long, avoiding a difficult conversation, choosing a career path, or waiting years to pursue a dream. Humans are naturally resistant to change. We're creatures who enjoy comfort, having a sense of control, and one might even call it security. Even if we know our current circumstances are hindering us from achieving the goals we set out. Every pop icon, sports legend.
This is because people are comfortable with the known, even if it's painful. A lot of times, if your life sucks, you won't try something that you don't know because there's mad risk, right? There's no risk in staying in a life that you already know. You know what I'm saying? Continuing the bad routine. You know it sucks, but it's more certain. You know, that's what he's basically trying to say. And that's why a lot of people stay in the waiting room hella long, bro.
A notable name, at some point in their career, took a leap of faith and bet everything on themselves. Denzel Washington, for example, throughout his career, emphasized that success isn't something you wait to receive, but rather is something you should build. What I like the most about Denzel is how he encapsulates how important setting goals and pushing for your dreams is. In an interview, he once said, "Dreams without goals are just dreams."
Dreams without goals?
Dreams without goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams.
A dream is not something you sit inside and wait for. It's something that only becomes real through the actions you put towards achieving that goal. Another person you could look at is Michael Jordan, who faced countless failures earlier on in his career, one of which was being cut from his high school varsity team.
Maybe I led you to believe it was
this
easy.
Dude, Michael Jordan sucked ass. Sucked ass in high school. 99.9% of people, this may just be basketball, but if they don't do that by high school, or they don't see improvement in themselves by high school, they give up because of what other people tell them. They let other people implant this idea into their head about themselves. Michael Jordan said, "Fuck you. I know myself more than you," and look what he did. If he would have listened, who the fuck would have been Michael Jordan? Would it just have been Larry Bird? Who was it? Who would it have been? They'd be the Larry Bird versus LeBron debate.
Maybe I made you think
Nobody
that every
wants
shot
that.
I took was a game winner. Maybe
You could be the next Michael Jordan, bro. Literally.
my
You
fault
could be
that
the
you
next
didn't see
Picasso,
that
bro. This is my thing. If somebody else did it, you can do it, bro. Cause why not? You know, now the only thing you have there is like, I mean, obviously there are things that are like basically impossible, right? Like if you wanted to be the best NBA center in the world and you were 5'2", like, buddy, I'm sorry, that's just definitely like out of your capabilities. I'm saying within reason, you can do anything that you want, right? Like obviously you may not be the best chef in the world, or you may not be the best blunt roller in the world if you don't have hands, right? So that's not within your Okay, now I'm just kind of whatever. You get what I'm saying, dude.
You gave me strength. That my pain was my motivation.
What did he say?
You didn't see. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner. Maybe it's my fault that you didn't see that failure gave me strength. That my pain was my motivation.
Or Kobe Bryant, who as a young buck growing up,
I wasn't invited to.
Exactly, bro. I'm sorry for pausing so much, but bro, that's how it has to be. When you fail, you gotta be like, all right, bet. But some people fail, or some people lose something very special to them, right? Like a girlfriend, or they let a breakup like absolutely destroy them. And for me, it would just be like, like, all right, bet. My girl knows I love her. She knows it would take me hella long to get over that, but it would be the fuel to my fire. It would just add so much fuel to my fire. And you realize that sometimes people need a loss in their life, or they need a major realization to hit them before they ever actually lock in. And it's like, you have always had the capability to lock in. You were just pussyfooting around because you were comfortable, and you didn't have to do that. But now that you have to, I'm locked in, you could be that right now, but you're just being a pussy. That's real. That's real.
Parties or family gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, a desire to be the best possible basketball player.
Kobe Bean.
Many athletes or people would take that loss and stop entirely, or get straight away from what's important, believing it's a sign that it just wasn't meant to be. Whereas MJ or Kobe instead turned that loss or opportunities into fuel, choosing to take the necessary steps to get to the player we all remember them by.
Bro, I'm so sick of these ads. What is a broke dude supposed to do? What is a broke dude supposed to do?
All right.
Oh, Christ.
How you doing?
Matthew McConaughey, an actor who early on in his career was locked into the rom-com guy. The problem with that is, those movies never really itched the creative side of his brain. He always knew if he wanted to do something new, he had to change and enter a new chapter of his life.
And I had that 4 a.m. in my solitude on my own truth that hit me. It lands like a butterfly and strikes like a lightning bolt at the same time. That truth that you go, okay, tomorrow when the sun comes up and I'm back in the masses and all of the world's coming at me and all those offers, I need to remember this truth. Now, I've been trying to get dramas and was even offering huge pay cuts. And they're like, no, stay in your lane, McConaughey. You're the rom-com guy. You got that down. Mind you, I enjoyed him, but I was wanting to do something different. Yeah. Because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I said, I got to stop doing what I'm doing. So I said, no more rom-com.
So he stepped away from acting and refused to take up another script unless it was something he can genuinely get behind. 1 month passed, 2 months,
That's
a year.
real, bro.
It got to a
I didn't
point
know that
where he
about
thought
bro.
maybe he made the wrong decision.
18 months go by. I really think I've done it. I'm out.
Until
I get this romantic action.
after almost 2 years, a real shift had happened.
20 months, 2 months after I turned that down, the offers came in that I was looking for, and they came in droves.
Killer Joe, Mud, True Detective, Dallas Buyer Club, Magic Mike, Interstellar, Wolf of Wall Street. The point is, if you take these examples, you start to notice a pattern. None of these people had any guarantees that things would work out, yet all of them made the same choice. They stopped waiting and stepped through the door.
Bro,
Outside of real-world examples,
if you guys are readers and you want a book that explains all of this perfectly, but it goes way more like in depth, you have to get Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, bro. Obviously, I don't have a fucking sponsor, but this book is like beautiful. It really just explains how, like, if you are persistent on anything that you want, and you make that your vibration, it will naturally come to you, as long as you stick to your truth, bro, and be open to seeing any opportunity or taking any opportunity that comes your way.
the rating room is something that happens in storytelling today through the eyes of some of our favorite characters. This sort of concept isn't new. While I may have given it the title of The Waiting Room, you could also see it as destiny, the call to adventure, a leap of faith. But regardless of the medium, the room remains the same. People often wait for the moment someone or somewhere will eventually tell them when they're ready. When I think of this, my head instantly goes to Mob from Mob Psycho, and how throughout the show, spends much of the story defining himself through how others sees him, instead of deciding who he wants to become. Miles Morales, a character who spends most of the first movie trapped between two worlds. After discovering he's been bitten and has powers, he seeks to search for the answer of the movie. What does it take to become Spider-Man? And in that realization, we get the leap of faith scene.
A leap of faith.
Truman from The Truman Show, a story about a guy from birth who grew up in a world where every decision has been controlled, until he takes the next step and figures out for himself the reality of the world he's in. The same sort of idea appears in stories like The Matrix, Evangelion, Star Wars, Dune, even comic book characters like Bruce Wayne, dealing with his parents' death, coming up with the concept of Batman, and what it took for him to fully embrace the mantle. Matt Murdock, throughout many Daredevil stories, we see how he struggles between the life he wants as a lawyer and the responsibility he feels as Daredevil. Going even further, I think the relationship he has with his fate.
Fuck with this. This dude's a Marvel nerd. I fuck with that heavy, bro. I'm gonna follow this dude. Good video, bro. Deadass, good video. Wait, can you guys see his name? Final Somehow. Fire.
being Catholic, and how he wrestles with moral decisions is what makes his character dichotomy so interesting. One of my favorite quotes from the show is when he decides to speak to the father about a dangerous situation, something that's been on his mind for weeks, and he says,
I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, Father. I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do.
It's a line that perfectly captures who Matt Murdock is. He's a person who knows the cost of his choices, yet feels compelled to make them anyway. What's interesting with just these examples I use is that every single one of them knows the reality of the situation. At some point, every character reaches the same conclusion. The life they're waiting for is sitting on the other side of a door that was never locked. The only thing keeping it closed was the belief that someone else had that key.
Purry! I really fucked with this dude's video. I'm not gonna lie, brother.
Digital
Actually,
gift
do your
cards
thing,
with
bro.
Microsoft.
Honestly, do your thing. I was gonna say too many ads, but do your thing, bro. Make your money, I guess.
Take a look at some of these characters, and you tell me what do you think they all have in common. We have Naruto, Zuko, Megamind,
Ambitious,
Rikudo,
relentless,
Nina,
determined.
and Marty Mauser.
Their love for the game was unconditional. They didn't give a fuck what anybody said about them. Especially Naruto. That's what really pops into my mind. Naruto knew. He wasn't confident. He knew he was gonna be that fucking guy. No matter what anybody said to him, bro. He didn't give a fuck how long it took. He didn't give a fuck what anybody said to him. It didn't matter. It literally didn't matter who was standing in front of Naruto. He was straight smoke. Didn't give a shit. Dude, when he was talking to Gaara, before they were, I think, wait, no, they didn't fight in the Chunin. Wait, did they fight in the Chunings? I don't know, but he was saying something, Gaara was saying something about the monster inside of him, and Naruto was like, I got a whole different type of monster. I don't even know what he said, bro, but that would, dude, I've never felt so much aura in my life.
At first,
actually, Vinland Saga and Death Note have hella aura too. Thorfinn and Light, they both have hella aura. I don't know, that's a big aura battle right there. Light Yagami, Thorfinn, or Naruto? Who has the most aura?
they seem completely different. A shinobi, a prince, a villain, a boxer, a dancer, and a ping pong player. But underneath all of it, they're chasing the same thing more or less. The desire to be seen, the acknowledgement, and to finally be recognized. In the early stages of Naruto, Naruto spends much of his life waiting for the acknowledgement from the village. His dream of finally becoming Hokage is ultimately a desire to prove that he matters and belongs. Zuko initially seeks his father's approval and does everything he can to restore his honor. However, he eventually realizes that true honor isn't something that can be bestowed upon by someone else. Rather, it's a personal
Avatar was fire too.
To be seen more than a villain. Rikudo spends his entire life trying to prove he is special after being rejected, and a desire to prove that his life has value and that he belongs in a world that's constantly overlooked him. Nina chases perfection in the pursuit of becoming the best, and Marty is, well, he's kind of a parasite if we're being honest. But above that, he's waiting for the world to acknowledge that he is the very best. This is the waiting room in its most subtle form. It's the kind of characters where in their eyes, approval from mentors, recognition from peers, or proof that they belong in the spaces they're trying to enter is far more important. But for others, the waiting room runs deeper than just approval. It could be something as simple as a meaning, a purpose, the sense that what they're doing is not just seen or accepted, but is instead necessary.
That is the difference, and that's where it goes.
I think for many, even outside of
that's where it goes from bad to good. The wanting to be acknowledged, or wanting to be seen, or wanting to be shown validation that you matter or have a purpose, is looking for external validation. You know what I mean? External proof that you matter, and you're never gonna find that outside of yourself. So that's where the switch flips. That's where the flip switches. Yeah, whatever. Where it's now unconditional, and just because you feel like this is needed because you feel a actual desire, a purpose, you know what I'm saying? Not a need to be seen, right? That's the difference. Right? Straight unconditional. No, you don't want anything in return just because this is you and this is what makes you happy. You get what I'm saying? That's the difference.
Entertainment. This is one of the most relatable and recognized ones. I think what holds most people back from pushing forward is not finding a proper purpose or meaning. One of my favorite films of all time is a movie titled Fight Club. It's a movie where the number one rule of the film is that
do not talk about Fight Club.
But I think I'm gonna break that rule. The film follows a man who is called the narrator. The narrator is a character who is completely stuck in life. He lives a pretty unfulfilled life in the sense that, for him, it doesn't feel like nothing, and he hasn't achieved anything. He goes through the motions, shows up every day for work, and exists inside of a system, but nothing he does feels real or meaningful. But because of this lifestyle, he eventually becomes severely sleep deprived and mentally worn down, and his sense of reality starts to blur. And so instead of moving forward, he starts searching for something that would make him feel awake and in control of his own direction. The turning point of the movie is when he meets a character named...
And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
The probability of me understanding...
Dude, holy guacamole.
Equal parts of gasoline and frozen orange juice concentrate, you can make napalm. No, I did not know that.
Tyler is quite literally the opposite of his lifestyle. He kind of lives his life how he wants to and acts instead of overthinking. He represents everything the narrator feels he isn't. Confident, direct, unfiltered, and fully in control of his own direction. It's a story built on many themes and life lessons that still hold true to today in some cases.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
Tyler takes the most hardcore route when it comes to certain things.
Publicly state that there is no underground group. Or these guys are gonna take your balls.
No. Wait.
But I think the messaging behind it is what matters. But it's kind of hard to defend this.
Raymond was what did you want to be? Veterinarian. Animals. Yeah, animals.
Good stuff, yeah, I got that. That means you have to get more schooling.
Too much school.
Would you rather be dead?
No.
I know where you live. If you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 6 weeks, you will be dead. Now run on.
I feel ill.
Aldi doesn't pay for cart wranglers, and those savings go to you.
This is the 20th ad, bro. You do an ad every minute.
Have you ever wanted to see your home?
Like, damn, bro. You're draining my balls, bro. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Come on, this is
Okay, but what about other examples of this? Well, we can look at characters like Frodo from Lord of the Rings, Simon from Gurren Lagann. Hell, if you really wanted to, you could even say Luffy, and how his change comes from his desire of becoming the Pirate King. The hardest part isn't knowing what you should do. It's finding the courage to actually walk forward when nothing is forcing you to stay except yourself. But there's one more example that I want to talk about that sits beneath all of them. One that feels more subtle, more reasonable, and for that exact reason, could be a little bit more dangerous in a sense. It's waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for the ideal moment is kind of like a mental image we create, where we sort of envision a future where everything seems to align perfectly. The problem with this is that no such reality truly exists. The biggest things in life often happen when we aren't ready.
I've said this, bro. This is a little side thought, but the imagination is so bad, and I'm going on strike for the imagination. The imagination is so bad that when people get into these relationships, right? You get into a relationship with somebody, and you almost foresee the future, right? You talk about kids. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? Oh, we're gonna get a dog. We're gonna get a house. You talk about all this stuff, and you build this future. Oh, we should go on vacation next month, and it's like you almost are now living in this timeline where you have a foreseeable future, right? So when things crash and burn, and you now I have a friend that just is actually kind of going through this right now, but life, it feels it almost feels like you have been in a dream when the breakup happens. You know what I'm saying? You get out of the relationship and now you like don't really see a path anymore because you had imagined this foreseeable future. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, live in the present, bro. Stop trying to go so far, you know, like, oh, next month we should. I don't know about that, bro. Damn. Let's all pray for my boy real quick. Everybody pray for my boy real quick.
That all your effort might not lead to success. It's one of the main reasons why stories often reject the idea of a perfect timing, at least not in the sense of overcoming a new chapter. Characters are often forced into action before they feel ready. If they waited for everything to line up perfectly, then the progression of a story would quite literally never happen.
Yup.
There would always be a reason to push back.
You're never, all right, this is the last time I'm gonna pause the video. You're never gonna be ready, bro. You're never gonna be fully ready for anything. It's, yeah, we can ask ChatGPT this too. Fuck it, we'll just get in ChatGPT. Can you ever be ready? Let's just see what he says to this. Depends on what you mean by ready. If you're asking philosophically whether a person can be truly ready for something significant, the answer is often only to a degree. You can be ready in the sense of prepared. You've learned, practiced, and thought through things. You can be ready in the sense of willing. You've decided to act despite uncertainty. But for many of life's biggest moments, marriage, parenthood, loss, death, major responsibility, and profound spiritual exercises, there are usually an element you can't fully prepare for until you're living in it. Does this make sense? You're never gonna be ready, bro. You're never gonna know enough. You're never gonna be like, oh, I don't think it's the right time, whatever. It's never gonna be the right time. It's never gonna be the exact right moment. Right? But the important thing to note also is that everything already is exactly how it's supposed to be. The only thing that can make a difference is you. Everything outside of yourself, how everybody is, how the land is, how nature is, completely objective. Nothing that is gonna,
or
nothing
some
is going
sort of
to change that reality besides you, bro. Does that make
condition
sense?
that isn't quite right.
There's never gonna be a right time, brother. Never gonna be a right time. Your time is up. My time is now. We're gonna listen to a John Cena song after this video.
Actually open a clean door and announce when it's ready. There is no moment where everything aligns perfectly. It's all about taking that risk and doing something you love. Jim Carrey once said that
so many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
Or like, dude, is this not clocking to y'all? It's not clocking to you, is it? Like, dude, take this advice. Like, holy shit. How? And that's the thing. That's what they do on their, like, when you start getting motivational shit, they overwhelm your feed with motivational shit, so it desensitizes you to the motivational shit, and now you don't want to do anything motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, how can you listen to that and not change your life? Not start doing exactly what you want. You know what I'm saying? With the realization that, bro, if you don't start doing what you want when you are 80 years old, laying in your deathbed, you're gonna regret your whole fucking life, and that's gonna be the worst feeling in the world. That's what scares. That's what scares me more than death, bro. And I think speeches like this, how does this not just, you know?
no matter what you do, every story eventually reaches the same moment. The moment when those elevator doors open. The moment where possibility all of a sudden becomes reality. And standing between those two things is often just one person. Yourself. Not the future, not some fate or some perfect timing. Just a version of yourself that's still holding back for some reason. So take the step. Stop waiting to do whatever it is you set aside. Chase your dreams, don't leave any regrets, and live a life worth living.
And even more importantly, how do you watch a video like this? What is going on?
The best value in
fuck was
tools,
that?
just a
How do you watch a video? Okay, I don't know what the last little bit of that was, but good video, bro. I don't know how you also watch a video like that and that doesn't change your life. Like, there's so many. That was a good video, bro. I didn't fuck with all the ads, but all right. Today we're gonna listen to John Cena's album.